full review and specification for the Samsung Galaxy S5 Mini. It's been a long time coming, but the Samsung Galaxy S5 Mini that everyone knew existed has finally arrived. It could well have been worth the wait too, as this is a reasonably spec'd device full of extra features, but it's entering a crowded market, so can it stand out? Super screen. One of the things Samsung is most known for is making great screens, and the Galaxy S5 Mini is no exception. It only has a 720 by 1280 display, but at a size of 4.5 inches that's still enough for a pixel density of 326 pixels per inch, so it's crisp and clear. Better yet, it uses Samsung's Super AMOLED technology, so it's also bright and vibrant, and Samsung has worked hard to ensure that despite that it still delivers natural colors. Oh, and the viewing angles impress too. It might not quite be a match for the 1080p display on the Galaxy S5 or the ludicrous QHD screen on the LG G3, but as upper mid-range phones go, this has one of the best screens around. Though design, unfortunately we can't be quite so positive about the design. It definitely looks like a Samsung Galaxy S5, but the design and build of the Galaxy S5 was one of its weakest features, as Samsung has stubbornly stuck to plastic. It feels reasonably well made, if a little light at 120 grams, and the metallic band around the edge looks nice if obviously plastic, but it does little to stand out visually. One very good thing it does have going for it though is that the 131.1 by 64.8 by 9.1 mm body is IP67 certified dust and water resistant, just like its larger sibling. That's a feature that's normally reserved for high-end phones, so it's great to see it on a mid-ranger, and it makes it a lot more durable to the elements and able to withstand accidental spills. Underpowered. The Samsung Galaxy S5 Mini seems a tad underpowered too. Its performance is fairly slick, and with a 1.4 GHz quad-core processor and 1.5 GB of RAM, it's not exactly lacking for power, but then this is a phone that's likely to sell for upwards of $589 SIM-free, and for that money you could get a Nexus 5, LG G2, Xperia Z1 Compact or OnePlus One, all of which are substantially more powerful, so it's a bit of a disappointment in that sense. Camera. The Samsung Galaxy S5 Mini has an 8-megapixel camera, which is a step down from the 16-megapixel snapper on the Galaxy S5, but it's fairly standard for a mid-range phone, though saying that its main competitors, the HTC One Mini 2 and Sony Xperia Z1 Compact, come with 13-megapixel and 20.7-megapixel cameras respectively. Nevertheless, it's capable of taking some decent shots and is packed full of shooting modes. It can also record 1080p video at 30 fps, and there's a 2.1-megapixel camera on the front. Features. As well as the standard things you'd expect from a smartphone, Samsung has added a fingerprint scanner and heart rate monitor to the Samsung Galaxy S5 Mini, just like you'd find on the full-size Galaxy S5. The fingerprint scanner is surprisingly useful, making the act of unlocking your phone quicker than ever and giving users one less reason not to put a lock on their phone, as it's no longer a hassle to get past it. The heart rate monitor is a little more questionable. It's interesting for a while, and anyone who's serious about health and fitness will probably incorporate it into their daily routines, but we'd guess that most people probably won't really use it once the novelty has worn off. Still, it's there if you want it, and it's a feature that no other phone that doesn't have S5 in the name has. Battery life, memory and connectivity. The Samsung Galaxy S5 Mini has a 2100 mAh battery, and while that's not the biggest around, Samsung promises that it's good for up to 10 hours talk time. More importantly though, it also comes with Samsung's impressive ultra power saving mode, which limits background tasks and can even turn your screen black and white, all in the name of increasing battery life. Obviously you'll want to leave this off most of the time, but if you find your phone running worryingly low on juice, it's a feature that can keep it going for a lot longer. The Galaxy S5 Mini has reasonable 16 GB of built-in storage, along with support for microSD cards of up to 64 GB. It also supports Wi-Fi, 3G, Bluetooth 4.0 and infrared, and there's a 4G LTE version that comes with NFC. Early verdict. The Samsung Galaxy S5 Mini is more or less what you'd probably expect it to be. It has the same build as the Samsung Galaxy S5, for better or worse, meaning it's disappointingly plastic but water resistant. It also has a fingerprint scanner and heart rate monitor, two features which you'll find on hardly any other phones, so if they're of interest they're a huge selling point, but almost everything else is worse. In the case of the screen and battery, that doesn't matter too much as they're still pretty great, but the lower power and inferior camera are more noticeable. They're still to be expected. After all, this is a cheaper handset, but it's not all that cheap, and if you want more power, a better camera or a better build, you can get some or for all of those things for the same money elsewhere. You won't get the S5 Mini's extra features though, and as it's a solid all-round performer, it's a safe bet for almost anyone. Thanks for watching New Tech Channel. Stay tuned and subscribe for more videos.